Welcome back, everybody, to Solo Spotlight. I'm your host, Ryan MacDougall, and in today's episode, it's a special one. I sat down with someone who's not just a business owner, but a genuinely inspiring person navigating life, loss, and entrepreneurship with integrity and honesty. My guest is Alex Charter, an independent hairstylist and the founder of AC Style, based right here in St. Albert, Alberta. With over 15 years in the industry, she's built a career and clientele rooted in loyalty, connection, and hustle. She is the definition of an old school work ethic meets new generation energy. But this episode goes way beyond hair. We talked about what it really means to bet on yourself, leaving the security of a salon to build your business out from the ground up. She opens up about the surprises that came with that move, what clients stuck around, what clients didn't, and how she reshaped her outlook. And in one of the most moving parts of our conversation, Alex speaks candidly about the stillbirth of her daughter, Macy, and how she found the strength to return to her studio just weeks later. We dive into grief, healing, ADHD, and the pressures of building something on your own, and what it means to fully show up, both as a professional and a person. Whether it's the hairstyling or the dealing with the struggle, I think everybody can connect with that Alex has to share, and I hope you really enjoyed this episode. With that, Alex Charter, episode 27, Solo Spotlight. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to my podcast here in my spare bedroom.
Love it. Thanks for having me.
Probably about the size. Would this be like the size of the place that you rent to do like a little bit?
I would say yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Maybe even like a smidge bigger, actually.
Yeah? With like a sink.
I have like 103 square feet.
Yeah.
You could put a lot in there, though.
Yeah. Imagine. It's all about how you organize it.
Seriously.
It's all about the feng shui.
Kind of.
I've moved this around, so this used to be like an L-shaped desk, and then I got rid of that. And it's like just to put the cameras everywhere, and it's this camera doing what I need it to do, and
Whoa.
yeah.
I do love the candy vibe.
Yes,
Like
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Emily. She was the one that designed, built, and kind of was her creative mind behind it. So,
I love it.
yeah. The only thing I did was I kind of just started. I had all the cut ones, and I didn't know how. I thought they were going to have it as a sign, but they didn't. So then they just gave it to me in bags, and I'm like, oh. I was like, I have to put this up?
Like, and keep it straight.
Yeah. It's, that was a pain to not get in the way of the laser level and then actually try to level it. Nightmare.
Oh, gosh.
More or less Emily's nightmare, but yeah. So yeah, you've been, how long have you been Emily's hairdresser?
Oof, like probably 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
That's wild. They say that there's a study that says that men are, what was it? 75% of men in a study said they'd be more loyal to their barber than they would to their girlfriend, which saying something about people's, what they want to look like and all that.
Yeah, right. You build a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. And like she kind of brought up this idea for you to come on, and you accepted, and now here we are. And I hope you enjoy the conversation. I hope our listeners enjoy the conversation we're going to embark on. And yeah. So just like some warm-up questions. Like first one is, do you have like a mantra or like a saying that you find yourself saying very often?
Yeah. So I was literally talking to my fiance on the way here, and I was like, do I like say something a lot? And he's like, oh my gosh, babe, you must say Bubba like 18 times a day.
And I think we want to get like a smaller dog. Or she gets to pick this time, but a Morkie.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. So, and what was it you said? Like sometimes you like bring it to the shop? No?
Kevin? Oh, I wish.
No. Yeah, you can't bring the dog.
No, they don't allow dogs.
Two standards. too many
I would
standards.
sneak him in if he was smaller, though.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
think anybody would tell on you.
I don't think they would. He is a husky, though.
Yeah.
He's very vocal.
He'll
Yeah.
tell on himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
will
will.
tell.
Narc.
He will literally tell on himself.
So, kind of give me a timeline here. Bring me back to like getting started in like hairstyling or hairdressing. What would be the more appropriate term?
I mean, hairstyling now.
Yeah.
It's definitely hairdressing before.
Right.
But now, yeah, it's definitely more hairstyling.
Hairstyling.
Yes, because we style and do the hair.
Right. So, bring me through. How did your like collecting this experience look like? You went to school.
Oh, yeah. So I graduated high school like 6 months early because I
Right.
was determined to become a hairstylist.
So this was a lifelong thing.
Lifelong. My mom had, my parents had me very young, and my mom wanted to be a hairstylist. And her path just took her a different way, and she didn't get to do it, but her best friend did. So
Right.
I grew up in her salon, and my mom very much was like, "You're good at this, just keep doing it, keep doing it." So my whole life, I've loved cosmetics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so cool. Did you get into like any like esthetician or?
Not a whole lot. In Nova Scotia, where I graduated from hair school,
Yeah.
it was actually a part of graduating.
Shout out Nova Scotia. I'm also from Nova Scotia too. So.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. So you said sorry there.
Like their program there was, I think it was like 14, 16 months straight every day.
And then you came out here.
And then I came out here actually right after.
Right.
And I took my red seal out here in Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you work at like shops? How did that look?
So I've only ever worked in 3 salons in my
Okay.
16 years of doing hair.
Okay.
And I worked in a really small one up in Cold Lake. That's where I started. And literally they threw me in. They're like, "Here you go." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I had to do a perm on my first day. It is still to this day the thing that I hate the most about my job.
And in terms of like difficulty level, like what would be like? Is that like a hard thing to do?
It's like, it just smells so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stinks.
it stinks. And it's
Yeah.
trending super big right now.
Yeah, I'm not a big
So I
fan
gotta,
of
like,
the smell of hair.
Learn to love it again. And I'm like, okay.
Is there a lot of smells in a hair? Like,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Yes. We're getting better. We're getting better at being clean.
Yeah.
Ammonia is starting to slowly leave our industry.
What about like, okay, how many times do you get like a client or say new client where it's like, oh, I can't like do anything because like you have like you have like a major like medical, like you have like lice or something. Like have you ever, you're like, not only am I not cutting your hair, like you need to go seek treatment.
You need to go. Sorry. I've been in the salon when that's happened, but I've been very fortunate in my career that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah.
Because once you say that word,
It's
just,
like shut it down.
you just start getting itchy, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, this is it.
Ugh.
And you have to be like calm about it, and
Mhm.
you don't want to like get them all scared. So you just have to be like, okay, so this is not happening today.
Yeah.
We're just gonna send you to the pharmacy. And
Right.
Here you go.
Did you find that like working through salons, like you were like a personable, like you had that more approach going into it, so it kind of like acted as an advantage?
Definitely, because like I worked in a drugstore
Right.
when I was going to high school, and I worked in cosmetics, so
Right.
it really helped. You know, you're a cashier, you're talking to everybody.
And when you're selling product, that probably helped a lot too.
a lot,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even the way I think about it is like, oh, that probably helped because like you'd start to like understand the brands and like what brands I'm actually like aligned with, like what I would actually want to sell or what's actually working for you.
and all ages and
Yeah.
all things,
Yeah.
because everyone is different, right?
Yeah. And how much, like, as an independent business, how much do you actually rely on product as opposed to just, like, services?
Oh,
Because, like, a shop, I would assume you would have more, like, ability to keep an inventory and this and that.
Yeah.
But it's, like, as, like, an independent business, it's, like, you're not going to want to go.
you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know if you can, I recommend having product because I think it's important to provide it with your service as a professional, but you don't want to have a full wall of money just sitting there either.
Yeah.
Like.
And then, yeah. And do you find that the product that people use, it kind of goes along with the trends too, where it's like people use certain shit and then like over time, nobody, yeah. And then you're like, oh, well, like nobody's, like I know for men it's like Ruzel. And then you go to some barbershops like Tommy Gunn's or something, for example, and it's like the walls full of, and you're like, they can afford it, sure, but it's just they have way more of a money thing, but it's
they also get way more free stuff because they order so much.
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, I'm gonna order thousands of dollars in this, so you're gonna get this for free.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm clearly not ordering that much in my 103 square foot room.
Right. So when you look at starting, like going through, you hit your third like salon that you're working for, was there any things you started to pick up from like, or people that acted as role models where you were able to be like, oh, I like how he kind of like, and it has nothing to do with hairdressing or like the profession I'm in, but like the way he handled that, or the way he like dealt with that like vendor or something like that? Was there anything you kind of picked up and like brought into what you're doing now?
Connections.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Like never burn a bridge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Talk to all the people that come in.
Yeah.
All of the ones that are selling you stuff. Keep a relationship with them.
Would you like, if you were to compare that, would you compare that to like the way that hair, like how did the way pharmaceutical people have like pharmaceutical reps,
exactly.
Do hair people have like hair reps?
Yes. And like they are my savior. They lead me in the right direction.
Well, and it's interesting because I looked up a stat the other day, and it was like hairdressing accounts for like $7 billion worth of revenue, which is like insane. So when you look at it, it's like there is a business for it, right? And when you did like, so I also had another hairdresser that was on a friend of a friend, and she came on, and I asked her a question. I kind of want to phrase a similar question of like, when you look at certain trades, did you ever consider like you wanted to be like nailed down somewhere, or you wanted to be like on the go, and like where you see male barbers be able to be like traveling barbers, is that like a reality as a hairdresser that you could actually like do, or considering your clients it's just not feasible?
Oh no, it definitely is. Like I worked at a salon for 11 years, and my side hustle was doing mobile business on my Mondays. So I went to a ton of different houses, and I would do the whole family. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's totally possible.
Now, say for instance, like I kind of, it's nuanced, but it actually like happens sometimes, because like I saw that like Jelly Roll came in.
Yeah.
And then I saw that this like, I wanted to get this person that does liquid IVs. I wanted to have her on the show. But I saw that she was like hired by him to do like, and it's like, maybe that was an opportunity you never thought you were going to have. But it's like, what if say Christina Aguilera, someone comes in, they're like, yo, we want you to do her hair, but she wants like this. Can you like mobilize and be like, yo, whatever's going on, like I can tackle it, like don't worry about it, we'll get like inflatable sinks or some shit? Yeah.
Yeah, that is all possible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they do it in their vans, like in their travel thingy-majiggers, right? That's where they do all of their makeup and their hair.
Right. Yeah, I always find that I found that interesting. Like it doesn't seem like there's much of a career path where it's like, oh, I'm just going to go to school and then I'm going to work here. Yeah. And then it's kind of like the grind forever. But like it also depends on like your creativity and like what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish and stuff like that. Absolutely. Was there any other like appealing like career directions that you wanted to go in, like with hairdressing? Like was there anything that kind of came out of like you wanted to apply to, or there were certain opportunities that you had available but you didn't take?
Definitely. Like you can work as a rep and start selling product to people like myself, and it is really fun in the aspect like I would get to meet so many other people in the industry and have even more of a networking process. But at the time it just wasn't for me because I was still working behind the chair so much. Right. Yeah.
And then that's probably the same with teaching as well. You didn't want to teach because...
Education, yeah. I mean, I love taking education.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the best investment a hairstylist can do.
Yeah.
But, no, I talk way too fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People can't catch it.
No. I'd have to say it like 18 times, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I get what that girl is saying.
I don't think I'd be able to track, like, once test time comes, I don't think I'd be able to keep everything, like, organized. People be getting the wrong things. And then near the end of it, I'd just be like, A,
sure.
A,
yeah.
C, A. Yeah.
Definitely.
So you talk about like old school work ethic, new generation energy. What is that like? What does that mean? And being like a natural storyteller, how does it kind of all rope into like your business strategy?
It is super important for sure. I think you have to be a storyteller to build that relationship with your clients for sure. But wait, can you rephrase that question?
Just talking about having like the old school work ethic.
Yes, sorry.
And the new gen energy.
The ADHD just kicked in.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, wait, I was going somewhere with that.
That's all right.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so I come from the generation where social media wasn't a thing.
Right.
You didn't have Facebook, you didn't have Instagram. We had hair books, magazines.
Right.
And that's how we learned how to do hair. And teaching, of course, we did go to classes still. But it was word of mouth.
Right.
Like, I had to work really hard for this girl to make sure she told her mom or her sister or her best friend to come to me. We didn't really have, like, posting on social media and other people to see it that way. Like, especially citywide.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's just word of mouth. So, I come from that generation. And now going into this new generation where people are specializing in certain things. Mm-hmm. So that's where social media is very handy because they only post what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So learning that also, like, going into that a little bit, like posting, like, I specialize in extensions. So I post a little bit more of that. And I also do a lot more female clients than I do male clients. So I tend to post more of them on social media. And that does give you a little bit of an easier way to build a clientele. But I strongly still believe in, like, you gotta hustle. If a client wants to come in at 8 o'clock on a Saturday, you say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this new generation, I feel like they don't do that. They do work-life balance, which is also very healthy. Mm-hmm. And I think we should all probably work on that. But back in the day, hustle, you worked the 12-hour shifts. This is how you built your clientele.
Mm-hmm.
You worked,
and that kind of leads me into my next question, like talking about that old school like work ethic. Do you think that also comes with like the side effects as well of like, do you think because you have that old school nature that you might be more stubborn to like certain, maybe it's on the business side where it's like, oh, I should upgrade this, or I should do this, or I should advertise, or I should be on social media more. Yeah. Are there certain things that you kind of have to like get yourself over?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, social media is probably my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
And I am very lucky to have a clientele that I have. So I tend to feel like I don't have to do it.
Right.
But it is very important, obviously.
So is that the reason, though? Like, that you don't do it? Like, what's the reason that you don't? Oh, yeah.
Because I'm so busy behind the chair.
Right.
And I'm like, my clients are like my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I get involved, we're talking, we're jabbing along, and then all of a sudden my next client's here. I don't have time to take a photo, and then out they go.
Yeah.
Which also, working as an entrepreneur on my own, that would differ from a salon because there's people in a salon to take the photo for you.
Yeah.
So my social media definitely declined a little bit going on my own because the timing.
Yeah, and we kind of have one of our topics for like general discussion, like ADHD, where it's, I think in nature too, like it's a lot harder because to be consistent with it, because sometimes you're forgetting to take a picture, sometimes you don't. And then you're like, all right, how do I like make up for it? And it starts to look a little messy, and then you're like, all right, like next.
And like the countless amount of social classes that I've taken with other hairstylists, and they keep changing, and then you gotta change, and they're like, oh, now my grid is messy. Now I gotta start all over again.
Yeah.
But now they're saying like, no, just posting is important. Yeah. Like,
Or it's like TikTok, and then it's like, well, there's a
Yeah.
different way for TikTok, and well, you can use Twitter, and you can use
Mm-hmm.
like, it's, and honestly, like, this is kind of what I tell a lot of people just in general of like, you got to kind of have your own, like, because once you sink yourself into anything, it's like, well, then it just goes into like this like flow chart of like, okay, hairdressing. Well, it's just cutting hair. Well, it's not really. By definition, it's blah 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 blah. And then it's like, okay, well, what's the difference between like hairdressing and like like estheticians and shit? And then, okay, well, what's the difference between threading and waxing? Like, and you know what I mean? So, and it's literally infinite, right? So people kind of have to decide of like, how big is my scope gonna be?
Yeah.
What's too much? So like for me, it's like, it's too much for me to do like the editing for like the shows and stuff. And then like I tried figuring out how to do the YouTube thumbnails. Couldn't figure it out. So it's like, you know what? Outside of my, like, whether it's intelligence, whether it's whatever it is, but like it's too much that I'm putting in and I'm not getting, it's still shit.
And it's
so
not paying off.
yeah. So it's one of those things where like sometimes you do have to outsource, but it's kind of like whether it's outside of like, do I have enough training in this? Like, do I actually know what I'm, you know what I mean? Like when you look at like audio and this and that, and even when you look at like social media, like how, like you just get to a point where you're like, yo, it just makes more sense that someone else just
do it.
Yeah, someone else just does this.
It's like I don't do my own accounting.
Right.
For a good reason.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You just gotta outsource where you can, for sure.
So was there any like bigger challenges for you starting like your own place, doing your own thing? Like what was it kind of the logistics of everything, like acquiring everything, like Costco Business Center or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Getting insurance, like so what was kind of one of those things that it was like, oh, this was kind of like particularly stressful?
I would honestly say the accounting part is the most, and making sure you read all of your contracts, like your insurance contract, my lease contract, like knowing all the important things in there and the rules, and then learning how to work QuickBooks and all of that, right? Like it's great technology, but you also have to kind of know it.
And do you kind of like when you think about on the business side, do you how much of like a cashless business are you? Like do you like, would you say you handle a lot of cash right now, or would you say it's tap?
It is tap. A lot of tap.
Yeah.
Tap, e-transfer, all of that stuff.
And do you get charged like a big like is
Service
it
fee? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like they make it worth it to
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a write-off too.
Yes.
So like
it comes out in the end.
Yeah, you definitely have to like sit down and go, okay, like, but there is different machines too. Like I use Square and I love it.
Yeah.
But there is other ones for other people too.
Right.
Yeah, so they just go different.
Yeah, it's
different
even
fees.
like donations. I saw like the Red Cross or whatever, they do it like, and you can just tap it.
Yeah.
So it was it's interesting the way the world's going. And like I guess you could probably look back at a time where like it was a cash register and you're giving people pennies and
yes. And I took home cash every night in tips.
Yeah.
Like that was a thing.
Yeah, and it's now you're just logging on to your RBC or whatever it is.
Literally.
Boop, 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 boop,
There
beep,
you go.
boop, beep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but some of it's good. I think some of it like on terms of like the logistical side, fantastic.
Yeah.
But like when you look at a situation like Tommy Guns where it's like, well, you got a TV and you got this and they're giving you 7-Up and well, first of all, it's super overwhelming. Second of all, it breaks the aesthetic of like doing it, because it's like I feel even more awkward that I'm ignoring you now.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean? Like they're trying to stay out of your way. You're trying to not be in, and it's just like, what are we trying to do here, right? like so I think that's super weird. But yeah, how do you kind of like what's what's something that you're doing on like a daily basis to like make sure that you're like connecting with clients and stuff like that? Like, is there like certain things that you ask right away? Are there certain like, do you always start off with the same story? If like, you know what I mean?
No.
Is there just kind of like you're going with the flow, or like, do you always like say like, so how's your day going? Or
yeah, literally I do. I'm like, hey, how's it going today? And usually, and they'll say like, how's your day? I'm like, living my best life. I probably say that like 18 times a day.
Right.
But it definitely depends on the relationship that I have with them. If I'm at my studio or if I'm at their home.
Right.
Also very different vibe.
Yeah.
Right. So it depends on where I am, but usually they'll jump right in with the story, like, you remember the last time I was telling you about this? And I'm like,
right, and you're like, yeah,
let's go. Yeah, we're
girl,
getting right into it.
tell me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like usually I have to stop and be like, wait, what are we doing with your hair?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of jumping back and forth, but considering like in my head, I'm like taking myself through getting my hair, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm thinking in like the idea of like, how are you kind of doing what you like to do, but also giving the customer what they want? But like, is there ever something like too stupid where you're like, nah, I'm not doing that? Or is it just kind of like, yo, if you pay me enough, I'll put a dick in the back of your head. Like, I don't care. Like, right. Whatever it is. Like,
I mean, again, definitely depends on the relationship and how well I know them. But I usually don't have a filter, so it just comes out and I'm like, oh, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. I'll give you an example, actually. Last time, well, not last time, but when I've been going blonde for 5 years, came to Alex in December, said, I want to go red, and she was like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Are we having a moment? You sure?
She asked me probably 3 times if I was sure.
You're like, yes, I'm sure.
And then she was like, you remember, like, you have blonde hair, right? So it's going to grow out.
Maintenance.
So, you know, she wouldn't outright say no, but she did try and convince me otherwise.
Oh, nice.
And then when I was unconvinced, she was like, okay, let's do it.
Definitely like to follow the lead.
Right.
Like, it's like, do you get bangs or no bangs? This is probably what I deal with on a daily basis.
Right.
Should I get bangs? Dude, it's going to be
Answer is
summer.
always no.
You're going to be sweaty. No.
See, the big thing that gets me when I go get my hair done is like, they go, what do you want, a 1 or 2? It's like, I don't know what that means, first of all.
Education.
Second of all, I want it less of this. Like this, but less. Just like, if you had a sliding scale of like growth, just do the same thing.
There you go.
Just minus 0.5.
Right.
And, but yeah, I go to a place and I think they're Armenian, is that how you say it? Armenian. And the guy, like, he wasn't understanding what I was saying, so the other guy had to ask me, and then he had to translate it, and then I was like, yeah, my hair is getting fucked up. I was like, I just have to, like, give the realization, like, I'm about to die, you know what I mean? Like, this is what's happening. I'm prepared to die here, yeah. I'm committed to the art and the culture and the creative spirit of getting your hair done. But I
mean, I teach my clients what those numbers mean.
Yeah?
Yes. I think it's super important.
I get it, but it's like the same thing when I take the dog to get his hair groomed, and they have like a chart with the pieces. I'm like, yeah, that's fine that it's there, but I don't know what it looks like.
After.
Yeah, I'm like doing this, and then I'm like,
this thing.
I'm just moving them like this, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I was like, but I think I have like a spatial awareness challenge, because I just don't. Yeah, I'm just like, I have no idea. I have no concept of like comparing things.
I mean, I'll say like most of my guys come in, they're like, I'm like the usual. They're like, yeah, the usual. And like maybe once in a blue moon they'll be like, I want to spice it up today. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah, but they come to you for that, right?
So, how many of your clients are male, like percentage-wise?
I would say like 25%.
25%?
Yeah.
When you went from salons to like your own thing, did you like take a lot of clients with you or no? Was there like an anti-poaching thing?
Well, no, because again, old school.
Right.
New school has that. They
Yeah.
have a contract that they have to sign. I don't have that.
Right, so you kind of took them all with you.
I mean, you have to be like courteous to your salon owner. Like, I owed a lot to her in my career, right? So I was very polite, and I didn't scream it when I was working behind the chair. But hey, I'm gonna be booking at this location.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want to.
If you want to.
Yeah.
You know, or I can hook you up with one of these ladies too.
Yeah.
You know?
Whatever. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think there's like riding on that kind of old school idea? Do you think like that idea of like connection and like professional courtesy, like A, in like the hairstyling industry, and B, like across the board? Because like I see it a lot where just everything's like it's just like I even adapt the term when I talk to people, like, oh, like when we're in this room, like it's business, it's not personal.
Yeah.
So like if I tell Emily she fucked up, like it's business, it's not personal. So then when we leave, like I think that way, but I also think that like it goes too far, where it's like you're so cutthroat, where like you have no, you know what I mean? Like, and I had a couple of people on, and they have like businesses, they're entrepreneurs, but it's like I had one lady that I interviewed, and she made like prosthetic eyes, and she ran a clinic where she made prosthetic eyes.
That's super cool.
And one guy who was like a mental health coach, and I kind of asked, and this could do for you, because like you see it on social media where like you're giving homeless people haircuts and shit like that, but in general I kind of asked, like, how much does your like general empathy get in the way of like a business practice of like, yeah, I shouldn't be giving this guy a deal, or I shouldn't be giving him a free haircut because it really doesn't make sense in terms of like what I'm taking home, and like this really does eat away at a proportion of profits that just doesn't make sense. But like for the community or whatever the fuck you wanted to say, it's like,
it's like, we call it emotional discounting.
Right.
And it is like, again, in today's world, that's not a thing. No one can afford to do that, really. But like back then, you know, if the haircut didn't go the way you thought it should have gone, or the reaction wasn't as good, you discount yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, ooh, I'm going to take 10% off because this wasn't good. But now, growing up in the salon that I did pass for like 11 years, she taught me, like, no, we don't do that. It is our client's job to speak up if they don't like something, and then we can fix it.
Right.
Right? Like, you have to have that connection, that honesty.
Yeah, it is.
It's growth for us, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, especially dealing with someone's image. You're talking about their self-esteem.
Oh, and if they're like, you know, my husband just lost his job, you know, I probably shouldn't be here. I feel bad. And then I'm like, I would do it for free if I could, man. Like, I definitely would. But you can't. And that has to be that line.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because, like, I think there's probably still a proportion of people that go out, they have enough capital to start their own thing, and it's the opposite of where it's like, no, you get a haircut, whatever it is, and then it's like, well, it's just not sustainable. No. It's like, so even though like it's great at the time and whatever that is, it's like, just in reality, it's like maybe if you did it once a year and it was like, but then people like, say if you want to get creative with it and you're like, you know what, I will do the free haircut, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to have like a foundation or whatever the fuck it is. Then people are like, now you're looking for attention. What's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. You don't have a family member who has this. So why would you support that? And you're like, oh, so now I can't be nice.
Yeah.
So now I'm an asshole. Right. So I think, or if you were like, oh, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to like put it on my social media. Oh, well, now you're looking to grab attention. It's like, well, maybe.
Kinda.
Maybe. Is that not the purpose of this fucking app?
Oh, like, you know, like I do giveaways.
Yeah.
I can't do them all the time.
Right.
But when I can, I do it. But you have to also be careful with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I'll give you a story. We're doing a giveaway we have Cheryl, and she's the front woman of a heavy metal band. So we thought, we have like, for my other podcast I do with two of my friends, we have like a hotline where you can call or text in to ask like questions or whatever it is. And we're like, and like crazy amount of views, crazy amount of likes, like nothing. Nobody calls in and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck am I doing? But we were like, maybe we'll do a giveaway and we'll find out. We'll ask like a scenario or whatever it is. But then we were like, okay, we'll buy the tickets, whatever it is. And I kind of told them like, this is a pilot project, but like, be ready that we just got 2 extra tickets to the fucking show we were already going to. Like, if nobody does the thing that we want them to,
well, then there you go.
You know what I mean? You're just like, all right, cool. Well, like, so do you kind of have any of that where like you kind of stick your neck out there and try a strategy and then it like totally blows up in your face and you're like, that wasn't the plan.
That wasn't it.
Yeah, you're like, that wasn't the game plan.
Like, ew, yeah, all right, that didn't work. Okay,
let's
move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on Instagram now, when you do those giveaways, you can see who's watching, who's replaying it, what's the demographic that's watching it, and like how many clicks is it getting? Is it men or female? Like it breaks it all down for you, which is really cool. So you can kind of see. Do
you find that like you're so deep with customers that it can actually affect your own self-esteem? Like, do you think that like it's like a balance of both ways of like, well, you could feel sad that I fucked up your haircut, but now I also feel like a shit hairstylist. You know what I mean? Like, do you go home like thinking like, oh, I dropped the ball today?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, I was this or that, or like, I kind of noticed like someone made a face and like it really like stuck with me, and now I'm kind of like, can I do this? Like, do you ever like? Has there been any particular moment that?
Probably every time you cut my mom's hair.
And some people just have like resting bitch face, right?
And some people do, like, making the move and taking the leap to open up my own. There was some clients for sure that I thought were going to follow me, and they didn't. And then there was ones I thought hated me, and they just came to me out of convenience. They did.
Yeah.
And they're super committed. And I was like, I thought you didn't like anything I did, but okay,
right.
let's keep going. And sometimes they're my clients for 10, 14 years.
Right.
And I was like, I literally thought you hated me this whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I love you. I just, it's hair. I'm like,
yeah, I'm just tired. Yeah. All the time.
All the time.
And you're like, oh, I thought, and then you're like, oh, you just hate everybody. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, this works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few of those, right?
Yeah.
And you just.
But that comes back to where I talk about like, okay, and is there like a certain, how do I say it, like you know how like people have like diplomatic immunity? Yeah. It's like, yo, whatever the fuck I do, if I fuck up your haircut, it don't matter. Like, chop, 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 I'm doing this all day. Like, I ain't got time for your, you know what I mean? Like, or you're like, you don't like it. This is exactly what I was looking for. So, like, see you at the cash register. $80. Let's go. Meet up.
Even
like,
though you hate it, let's go.
Yeah. Like, so there's, because maybe someone's being like a prick. And you're like, you know what? I would have felt bad.
Yeah.
I would have felt bad,
yep.
But now you're being an asshole, so guess what?
You have to, like, stand up for yourself, but also know when, like, this is customer service, and the customer is always right. So you come
yeah, it's like, what if the chef cooked a bomb meal, and the dude's like,
I don't like it.
This is disgusting. And you're like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like...
And there's people like that in the hair world. They'll come in and get a haircut, they actually love it, but then they say they hate it, so they get it for free.
Do you find a lot of like people come as like do you find people come in like blog or like independent critics, or like do you find that's like a world?
Oh, it is a world.
Where like people come in and they're, or even people that are just like probably obnoxious, where like, you think you could like take pictures and send them to my thing and like
and post it and
post it and tag me, and you're like, bro, like just let me cut your hair. And that's probably like, you probably have a harder time getting there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like getting to that level where you're like, I don't like.
No, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I did one blog person, and like super sweet, and she's very successful. But the amount of posting and tagging that I had, and the amount of photos, like I had to block off an hour to take photos. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not good at this, but okay.
And yeah, but there's some, like, this is what happens. Like, I talk to people, not even people that are, like, like my father's age or my like mid 50s, right? I talk to people like in my 30s and stuff, and even I feel like I'm relatively like tech savvy, but there's some people I talk to where it's like, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried this? And they're like, what are you talking about? And you're like, oh, this is like a lifeline to me. Like, if I didn't have this, like, you know, so is there anything that you look at now, like say AI, where you're like, oh, I would like to try it, but I just can't like get around to understanding the concept?
Well, I'm obsessed with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Obsessed.
Yeah. This is my life. Like, ChatGPT is like my... And just for everything, where I'm like, oh, I'm I want to make bake a chicken breast. I know how to bake a chicken breast. I just want AI to tell me.
Yeah, how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's helped me in the business industry as well with Instagram posts.
Yeah.
And like how to catch attention. Like, okay, this is who I'm gonna go for. I want to attract, a 25-year-old who has long blonde hair.
Right.
How am I gonna do that? How am I gonna phrase it? And ChatGPT helps you.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
And
it's scary.
Kind of.
It's very scary.
Too much about me.
And what a lot of people don't consider, which again, this might be a little hippy dippy, but you know what? So just consider this to give you perspective. Just saying please and thank you to like ChatGPT costs like OpenAI, the company that owns ChatGPT, costs them millions of dollars, because like the nuance that the ChatGPT needs to understand for that extra kindness costs them in terms of power. So like the amount of power consumption. So in places like Virginia, West Virginia, like in that like Midwestern hub, there's like, that's like called like the like data center alley. So essentially like if you post anything, it's like 98% of all of the data that travels through the world travels through this like Ashburn, Virginia. And they're like, these things are like the size of like Amazon warehouses, and they're just like data banks. That's all they are. And it costs, and just people going like, hey, who's Tim McGraw's wife? Oh, hey, does Wolverine, is he actually exist? And did anybody get titanium spikes in the, like, and there it is, boom, $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, $1,000. So it, as crazy as it is, and like, I don't care. I spend hours on it. I like environment. I don't care. Burn the trees. It doesn't matter. Like,
he's trying to find a way to replace me with AI.
I'm not worried about it at all. I literally like talk to it like it's like she even knows. Like I'll have it on like the speaker function, and I'm like, yeah, like what's the tone? I get it to like read back the interviews to me and everything, and it's like,
it's a great tool.
Yeah, eventually they will probably take over the world.
Yeah, probably.
But what is this idea of like, do you ever think your job, like, would it, like, do you think the nuance of cutting hair, like, do you think like a robotic or AI program could like start, or do you think there's too much do you think there's too much danger involved? Like I couldn't see like a robot giving someone like a straight razor shave.
Or shampoo with water.
Like drown them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't know to wash for ears.
Yet.
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 But yeah, no, I think my job is pretty safe.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, you know, I feel like it's okay. Maybe for the person that doesn't like conversation and just wants to walk in.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, there's that.
It's weird. Has there been a big, like, shift? Has there been anything that has been, like, a big change that you've seen from when you started to now?
From, like, when I first started? Oh, yeah. Like, back in the day, even how we look has changed so much.
Right.
Like, girls are wearing sweatpants to work, and it's trending, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We were not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you had to look, you had to look it, right?
Right.
If you wanted a good clientele and a fancy clientele, you had to dress like it.
That's crazy.
But now you can wear sweatpants and a toque to work. It's insane.
Yeah, I don't get it. We have some people, like, people that I work with, and they go around, they wear, like, a toque and, like, the manager goes like, you can't wear that. And they go, okay, sure. I can't, but I will. And they're like, and they just go, yeah, talk to my union.
When you talk about some people, are you talking about yourself?
No. I don't wear a toque to work. But there's some, like, certain pieces of uniform you have to get issued to you and it has to be approved.
Yeah.
So then they're like, you can't wear that. He's like, all right. Like, what are you going to do? Take it off my head? And you're like, all right, never mind. Like, okay, I don't want the smoke. Like, and some people just go like, yeah, I ain't trying to get the drama.
No.
Speaking of like confrontation and smoke and all that, like, do you ever look at like expanding and like how was your like relationship with like just like a team environment or like working as a part of a team, and is that something you're trying to like replicate, or are you just fine doing it on your own?
I mean, I do love doing it on my own. I mean, I watched what my boss went through for 11 years. It's a lot. It's a lot on your personal life. It's a lot on you mentally to take charge, especially because our career choices are definitely more women dominated.
Right.
So it can be a lot. You put 12 women in a room. We're all extremely different.
Yeah.
And you're the person that's putting out every single fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
and
hard.
You're playing Tetris with everybody's schedule and this and that.
And everyone has
and that
needs.
person has a wedding and that person's
that
going.
one's going on mat leave.
Yeah.
That
and
one's
there's
going to
person's
Italy
fish
for 6
died
months.
and that person.
Right? And
yeah.
like, this person wants this and this person wants that.
But how much do you say, like, I always go, what is like shitty stress and what's like actually like decent, like I'm panicking, like I'm freaking out, but it's like, it's all good though. Cause I know like, even though like life's proverbially like beating the shit out of me with sticks right now, it's like, it's all worth it. Like, like, so I can be fine.
Yes.
Getting beat the shit out of.
Everything's fine.
Because I know that like it's not something where you're like, oh, I'm doing this for someone else or like ethically or morally. Right. So like even when it comes down to something like that where it's like, oh, how much of it is this like something that like I'm okay and it's optional, and how much of this is like, no, this is natural progression, you got to get out of your own way.
Yeah, you do. You have to grow. Like,
right.
And that's why I had to leave.
Right.
I was at the top. I was booking 12-hour days and every single day was full.
Right.
So like that's when you're like, all right, this is it for me right here. Am I okay with this?
Right.
And if you're not, you're just gonna sit in the sludge. You're just gonna float.
Do you think you have this like natural, like, now say for instance this was like a different job, say if it was like managerial work, like do you think you would have the same, is it like the creative process that you have like the ambition and like because you're good at your job and you're naturally creative and you're talkative, or do you think it's also like this drive on the other end where it's like, oh well, I can do the books and I know I can learn like the payment system and like, although this is kind of annoying and like nuanced bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I even wrote down because we're gonna talk about like costs and everything.
Yeah.
And I wrote down like, what are the condiments of the business? So what's like the annoying shit, but like you got to buy it and it's a lot of money, but like it lasts for a while and like it's a necessity.
Towels, man.
Right.
Towels. And then you have to do the towels.
Right.
I don't have someone else to do them for me now. It's so annoying.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, what is something that's like naturally like, oh, I gotta offer this or I gotta do this, right? And you're like, it's gonna be so annoying to have to do this and like to get there and to offer like aesthetic services or whatever it is. Yeah. It's like, okay, here we go. Like,
like European head spas right now are like blowing up.
Right.
Huge. I have a side sink, man.
How much does this merge? Like, say, for instance, you were like, yo, instead of doing like aesthetics, like I'm going to hire like a massage therapist to work here. Like, does that blend? Like, is there a lot of occupations that like those two jobs would work together or like?
I mean, like I'm at Cottrell Collective, right? So there is massage therapy. There is therapists in there. There's estheticians. There's IV injections.
Right.
So we all work in the same building.
Right.
So we have so many connections that way. So I'm working right beside someone that's massaging.
Right.
And it works.
Yeah.
And I send my clients to her. She sends her clients to me.
And then if you wanted to like bring them under your banner, you would essentially have to like go up. up in size.
You gotta have to, have to like get a bigger building. And
now, do you find like you're content right now in what you're doing? Like you're getting enough, like, do you find like you're at like a good, like progressive, or like, did you go into the next gear too early or too late, or like
I think I'm in a good gear right now, because when I first left, I was packed. Like my books were 6 months out. You weren't getting in for a Saturday or evening. And then all of a sudden there was like a dip. And then it kept going down. I was like, oh no.
I'm panicking.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Like, where are these people going? Why are they going?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right? And like people want to, as soon as you say you're doing really good, it kind of gives everyone we like comfort.
Yeah.
We're good with familiarity, right? So they're going to come support me until they hear that I'm doing really good. But then they don't feel so bad going back to where they're comfortable.
Right.
And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And then, but now I have to work on like, okay, now I got to build back up.
Yeah.
And like, what kind of clientele do I want?
And like, I don't think people understand, like with that type of thing, it's like, take ADHD out of the picture. It's like, just to do like your own thing, your brain has to be firing at like 1,000 rounds a minute, because it's like, okay, is the dead machine, where is this working? Is that working? Did I change that? Did I change that? I also have this and I have that, and I should sweep after this person, and you know what I mean? And like, I think people need to give more like, and this is with anything. Mm-hmm. It's like simply just trying to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Is like, because not only do you have to learn something, you're just taking the opportunity to just be like, I'm actually just going to try it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually just going to do it.
And you don't know till you try.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And
failure's okay too.
Yeah.
And you have to embrace that.
Did you ever like, and I think like this kind of, so I think this kind of brings us into like some other things that we wanted to talk about, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, of course.
But I want to talk about just a brief context of kind of where we're at, because you bring in like it's okay to fail and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you kind of like, we have to also acknowledge how like positive this narrative is. Like, it can't always be like positive, and there are like personal challenges that get in the way. Yeah. And like, you know, again, like what we're going to talk about with like conceiving a child, right? So we're going to be talking about a stillbirth. A stillbirth refers to the loss of a baby after 20 weeks of pregnancy. Just for my audience to be aware of that, so they kind of know what we're going to be talking about. But first, I want to ask, like, what, like, it must have been a big impact for you to kind of want to discuss it. So kind of like take me through whatever you feel comfortable, of course. But I just kind of want to know like how that sat with you, and like how intense it was for you to kind of like go through that experience, and like, you know.
Oh, yeah, I think it's probably the hardest challenge a person and a couple can go through, because, you know, my partner also, he went through a hard time with this too, right? And we both use outlets in different ways. So work is my outlet. So, like, I had to take 5 weeks off at Christmas. It was intense. I did have to go through labor and then recovering from that. And I also have an injury in my back from a quad accident in the summer. So still recovering from like everything, right? And it's a lot. Yeah. And but as soon as I got back into my studio, I was like, I got this. I can do this. This is no problem. And it was kind of like therapy for me. And like I have that relationship with my clients. I'm very lucky. Yeah. And they're okay to bring me up. They're like, how are you doing? And I'm okay to be like, you know what? Today's a shit day. Yeah. And then other times I'm like, you know what?
I'm just feeling it.
I'm feeling it, and I'm living my best life. And you know, this is okay. Yeah. And especially in a job where you do have to be so vulnerable, because like that's what people also have to consider too, if like you're leaving yourself open, especially building these relationships. And then like the stress or intimidation that you can feel coming back to that after 5 weeks, and be like, oh, you probably haven't talked to many people, you probably haven't, and then you're like,
oh, I don't want people to give me too much, like, you know, like,
and like I had people bringing me gifts,
and you're just like,
it's,
and like,
it's definitely an awkward conversation for sure. It's and hard for some people for sure.
mm-hmm.
But I think the more we talk about it, the more it's gonna get easier.
Well, and I think it also, and I talk about this a lot all the time on my show and my other show about the idea of like emotional maturity, right?
Yeah.
Of like, and I had an interview with like AMA tow truck driver, and he says like, you can be in a different experience, but you can also like have empathy, like, and he said like something, there's a difference between like sympathy and empathy, like, you know, and kind of where that's at, and like you can feel different ways, and you can like, you know, so it's very, I could only consider, like, only imagine how like challenging it was. And like, do you find that there's like takeaways or like certain things that you learned through that, like going through that experience, that you kind of take away now? Or there's like, are there certain like mindsets that you kind of had to develop out of like a recovery or therapy type thing?
You have no other choice but to be strong.
Yeah.
So it teaches you that kind of, right? And I honestly, now when I look at things, I'm like, do not sweat the small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And then being open about it and having open honesty with your partner about it too, and making sure you still talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, like the more you talk about it, I honestly think it does get easier for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But also learning how to read a room. That was a new thing I had to really learn. Obviously, if someone is having a very healthy pregnancy and they're coming in and they're like,
it's like, that's not the time.
Do not bring it up, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're going to have someone that's coming in and they just went through a miscarriage. Right. And you can relate to them on that level and help them.
Yeah.
Right? So learning how to read the room, and like, that was something, because I'm very open.
Yeah.
I'll talk about everything. So I do have to kind of like, oh, no, read the room, Max. Just take it back.
And it's interesting too, because you also have to like have an idea as well, like, again, reading the room, where you say like, this person just might not want to, like, you know what I mean? Like, not even that, or like, you can just see that it's like, it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna, and like, any more than this is gonna be too much. Yeah. You know? But yeah, like, and then you also talk about like going through it as a relationship, right? Of like, it's also something where there's also like a butterfly effect of like, it also affects like the people around you and how that relationship goes forward. And you're getting married, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah.
Very exciting.
So like, you talk about rebuilding, and now kind of define to me, because 5 weeks, that's a while, but what would you say rebuilding? Was there like, did you change anything particularly in terms of like, because did you lose clients? Like, how was it? Like, explain to me this idea of a rebuild.
So I want to rebuild in a way that I've also learned from this experience that I need to slow down.
Right.
I need to like slow down, man. And you can't work 7 days a week. So like, just learning how to cut the hustle back a little bit, slow down. And I want to be able to book clients in a way that I can really don't have to rush. Maybe I will have time to take that photo at the end and enjoy their conversation and really get to know them and build a relationship that way, as well as also being professional and doing their hair. And it was getting too hard. I was used to double booking in my old salon, and I was available for my clients quite easily, and I would just get them in. I can't do that now. Yeah. So I think clients had a hard time accepting that, and you lose some, right? And then some have the mindset too, where like, oh, she's probably gonna try and get pregnant again. I might as well just stay where I'm at, you know, and move on, kind of thing.
But it's all. I always consider this like, it's not about fast or slow. It's about pace.
Yeah.
Right? It's about like developing a pace of like, well, some people are taller, some people are shorter. Their stride's going to be different.
Yeah.
So like I can emulate certain things, but like sometimes you kind of have to know like, all right, this is a good, like it's still challenging, it's still rewarding.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm, leaving it. I don't feel like I have anything in the tank when I leave, like I'm leaving it all there type thing. But kind of what I want to like go into too is like looking forward. Is there anything that you kind of look at now where you're like, oh, this is something that I have like hopes for, whether that's personal or professional or what, like obviously a wedding.
Yeah.
But like besides that, what do you have in the horizon for you?
A lot of training. Coming up. So I need to be, like, the trends are changing so fast right now. So I feel like I have to be on my game. I want to learn as much as I can this year. We do still want to hope to try and for a family. So, my career will have to take a step back a tiny bit, right? So this year I just want to cram in as much as I can, build my client base back up to its full potential. And then hopefully then hire someone to come in, take over for me. And then build a relationship with someone else that way too, professionally.
Right.
As a partner, yeah.
Right. That's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
And quickly, what are the ways that people can get a hold of you? Through your social media?
Yep.
That's the big one?
Yeah, Instagram for sure.
So what's the Instagram name, sir?
acstyle.yg.
AC Style. Is there anything else that you think you'd want to talk about?
I think this was a good combo.
Yeah.
I have a question, actually.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so dentists hate getting their teeth worked on by other dentists because they're like, that's not how I would do it.
Yeah.
You're getting your hair done, I assume, for your wedding.
No.
No? You're doing it?
I'm doing it myself.
Okay, well, that answers my question then. I'm like, ain't no way this chick is letting somebody else do her hair.
No. I would never put that on another hairstylist, man. I just don't
Do you
know.
have the same thing, though, where you'd be watching it and you'd be like, that's not how I'd do it?
That's not, yeah. No. Yeah, and all of my friends are obviously so talented. And I would definitely trust them. But you get to know how you like your hair, and I'm obviously very particular on how I do it. So, yeah. It will be I'm actually doing my bridesmaids' hair as well.
Wow.
Well, they're my clients.
Yeah.
Are you starting at 2 a.m.? Or?
Maybe, possibly. They refuse to let me do it, but it's happening.
Yeah. Saving on costs.
Well, hey, man. Why the makeup
Why
artist
not?
is doing her thing out.
Yeah.
It'll keep me calm.
Of course.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been amazing, Alex. Thank you very much for joining me. And Emily, thank you as well. This was great. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
To our listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow Spare Bedroom Studios and everything we have to offer. Don't forget to go to AC Style for your next haircut. St. Albert, Edmonton. Well, St. Albert, Alberta, is it? No, St. Albert, Edmonton?
It's
no.
like St. Albert, but like kind of.
I was like, how does that work? Is it like a city in a city? So we got Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Figure it out. Get there. It helps us out a lot. And we'll see you for the next one. Thank you.